Hello everyone, and welcome to the GDA Classroom. You know, being a superhero might be tough, but between sleeping till noon and working until 4 p.m., being a YouTuber might be even tougher. Some people say that to do it, you need to be really strong. Invincible, the show, began in March of 2021 with weekly, almost hour-long episodes and a cast of only the baddest heifers on the floor. Invincible felt different to anything else that had come before it, a breath of fresh air for the superhero genre. In a similar way, Invincible the comic breathed new life into the written superhero genre when it released in 2003, the young, bold upstart in the superhero world with an I logo, Image Comics. Over the past couple months, while this channel has been going through a slight recalibration to focus more on comic book content, I've watched a lot of cool stuff, fun stuff that I've liked quite a bit. But between Invincible and a few other things I've been watching lately, I've had the holy light of God returned into my life, because Invincible is peak.
I know this is a lot to take in at one time, but you're half Viltrumite, son, and you're getting older. Things are going to start to change for you in a few years as you hit puberty. You're going to get acne. Your voice will start to crack as it begins to change.
Oh, God.
And you're going to start to develop superpowers of your own, just like me.
I still have you.
Invincible stars Mark Grayson, a high school student in the suburbs of Chicago, and his life is painfully normal. He's not very popular, he's also not very unpopular, he's not very stupid, but he's not very smart, he has hopeless crushes, and reads comic books. Oh yeah, and his dad is Superman.
This is going to be a little awkward for both of us. You may have noticed that I'm not like normal dads. Your mother and I think it's time you knew the truth. We think you're old enough for me to tell you where I really come from.
Mark lives in an approximation of the DC universe. Instead of the Justice League, we have the Guardians of the Globe. No Teen Titans, we have the Teen Team. And instead of Superman and an exploded Krypton, we have Omni-Man in the Empire of Viltrum. Now guys, spoilers for Invincible. Omni-Man is evil. The first season of Invincible is a masterful lesson in dramatic irony, a concept where the audience is anxiously aware of a fate that our characters are not yet privy to. Like my new character, Mr. Testicular Torsion, going to the spinny ride at the amusement park. The first season is a tense but exciting ride, the joy of learning about Mark's new powers and how to navigate his superhero life. On top of the dread of everyone, especially Mark and his mom, Debbie, learning the true nature of this alien in their home. This show is kept alive and thriving due to two things: the fantastic world and world building started in the comic and carried into the show, and the insanely good characters, elevated by the absolutely unbelievable voice cast, who siphon off the animation budget like a group of television vampires. There's honestly so much that I love about this show that it's difficult for me to present it all in a clear and concise way. Walton Goggins. As a man in his 20s, I've watched some Tarantino, and one of my favorite actors in his Rolodex of white people willing to say the N-word is Walton Goggins. Goggins plays Cecil Stedman, the head of the Global Defense Agency, or GDA, an intelligence group which exists in a fantastical world, with superpowers, immortal men, and even mildly competent bureaucrats. Goggins' portrayal as Stedman lives up to the stellar cast of this show, but so does J.K. Simmons as Omni-Man, Sandra Oh as Debbie, and even Steven Yeun as Invincible himself. What Stedman uniquely does on the show is provide a place where the questions of this superpowered alien universe can be answered, and the threats of this world can be fought and then used. The murder of the Guardians of the Globe throws the whole world off balance. While everyone else is trying to figure out who did it, Cecil Stedman is trying to figure out why Omni-Man did it. Goggins does a fantastic job as Stedman, but I think that there are characters who have an equally compelling portrayal, not least of which in Sandra Oh is incredible. In my opinion, voice acting truly is one of the most underappreciated parts of storytelling out there, besides YouTubing. So many nuances that can only be seen and not heard have to be completely forgotten about as you try and portray a character with your voice alone. I find this especially impressive when it comes to an actress like Sandra Oh. Like how Willem Dafoe has a face made to portray coiling rage and anger, Sandra Oh just looks like she was born to be concerned. She's great in the entire run of the show, but her scenes in season 1 where she acts opposite of J.K. Simmons' Omni-Man are almost certainly her best. She portrays this very ordinary woman with so much strength and character. I especially like her relationship with her son. At the advent of Mark's powers, Debbie asks him to come in for the night. When he responds saying, "Make me," she asks him plainly, "Does that make you feel strong? To know I can't physically stop you? Is that what you need?" There's so much strength in the immediacy of how she asks it, but without any hint of fear. It's the type of trusting strength that you would need to raise a son like Mark, to run a family like the Graysons, and to stand out in a voice cast this star-studded. You'd have to be Invincible. Steven Yeun. The face behind the winner of Dead Meat's Horror Survivor Season 6, Steven Yeun, is the star which the series revolves around. Yeun is no stranger to adaptations of Image Comics, being one of the breakout characters of AMC's The Walking Dead, and he is what makes this show work, above anything else. Invincible isn't like other comic franchises. It isn't about continually building this never-ending world. Characters who spin off of characters who spin off of other spun-off characters and then form their own team-up shows. Invincible is just about Invincible. So let's rip off the band-aid and talk about what is far and away the best episode of the first season, the finale.
Let him go!
Stop. It's me, Mark. It's just me.
What if one day you woke up or were taking the trash out at work and you could suddenly do things basically no one else could? Your life changes instantly. You get other cool super friends, you get a costume, date the girl you like, fight mad scientists at national monuments before family dinner, throw a baseball around the world with your dad. And what if it was all built on a lie? Steven Yeun does such an incredible job in the whole show, but especially this episode. Mark is beyond furious at his father for what he's telling him now and for what he never has. But the main emotion I get from his performance in these scenes is that Mark is just really sad.
Calm down.
I will not calm down! This is insane! What do you think is gonna happen? That I'm gonna go enslave my friends for a bunch of aliens I've never met? This is my life! These are my people!
We have a responsibility to Viltrum.
I don't give a shit about Viltrum. And I don't care if I live a fucking million years. This is my home, and I won't let you destroy it!
Episode 8 of Season 1, or really the very end of Episode 7, is like the emotional roller coaster peak before we get into the loop-de-loops and corkscrews of sadness. You feel just as overwhelmed as Mark and Debbie do, and a little more overwhelmed than Cecil and the GDA do. In the action scenes before this, like Omni-Man's Flaxen Genocide, his power is more impressive than scary. But fighting his own son, our main character, every punch and every jab hurts.
Fine! What's 17 more years? I can always start again. make another kid.
And my favorite, very fucked up detail that they did not have to add is definitely Mark's strained breathing after his father has beaten him into the Himalayas. But my favorite thing about this finale is the way that this fight ends, or doesn't end. After fighting a kaiju, beating up his son, and defeating the strongest hero on Earth, the Immortal, what gets the fight to end is Omni-Man looking at his son, a wheezing pile of bruises and lacerations. He just starts crying and leaves. The rest of the finale is pretty quiet and slow. We're just reacting to the insane thing that just happened and then just stopped happening. Mark sees his mom, his friends, his now again girlfriend. Cecil and the GDA recover their assets and information from the fight, and Alan the alien comes to warn Mark.
Earth is off limits. There's a Viltrumite living on your planet.
Oh, that.
One great thing I haven't mentioned about Invincible yet is how funny it is, especially in Season 1. And one less great, according to some people, thing about the show I haven't really mentioned yet also is Mark's girlfriend, Amber. Since the first season of the show, Mark's first girlfriend, Amber, has been the target of a massive amount of the fanbase's ire. Besides a reason I can't put my finger on, people generally don't like Amber for one very specific reason. She can't date a superhero. But this becomes more of a thing in Season 2, so Invincible Season 2 is all about Invincible Season 1, and I think it's really cool. Season 2 opens on one of the many realities in the multiverse in which Mark actually joined his father. It turns out he joins him in the majority of realities. Which, okay, if you have an infinite number of realities in a multiverse, to my understanding, I don't think you can have, like, a majority of those infinite realities. Like, I don't think there would be a majority of evil Marks. There would just be infinite evil Marks and infinite not evil Marks, right? That seems right to me, but I don't know enough about fake math to say for certain. This season sees Mark, his mom, and a race of bug people deal with the fallout of Omni-Man's actions. Cecil judges Mark because of his father, Debbie is berated due to the actions of her husband, Nolan got to leave and have a weird purple baby, while the Earth has grown contempt for the Graysons. Sure, Nolan may almost commit demonetization over his guilt, but so does Debbie, and Debbie doesn't actually deserve to. This anger at the Graysons is personified in the villain of this season, if you can really call him that, Angstrom Levy. Angstrom Levy, or rather every Angstrom Levy, is a genius scientist committed to stopping Omni-Man and Invincible's Viltrumic conquest of the Earth. Unfortunately, the now one living Angstrom Levy is trying to kill one of the seemingly few good Mark Graysons. Even though there should be an infinite number of them, but whatever. I've grown to like multiversal stories in anything less and less. I find that when you introduce the idea of an infinite number of realities, an infinite number of which are basically exactly like this one, I kinda care, like, way less about this reality. That being said, I very nearly really like Angstrom Levy because I love that he starts out as a multiversal threat. And I think the idea of a villain being really jaded that this is one reality where he definitely is just not a good dude is really interesting. I also really like that he is not a good dude. In the season premiere, when he isn't building his empire with blood, it kinda seems like he might be one of those more relatable villains. But by the time the season finale comes, he's just beating the shit out of this regular lady and her kid. Also, one quick thing about this finale, I find it really funny that so many fans and some YouTubers made such a big deal out of this Agent Spider fight. Like, guys, I know you love Spider-Man, but the fight is barely a couple minutes and you can just cut it out of the episode.
Talk about your bad luck, Prof. Ock.
Mark's genuinely horrified reaction to just pulping Angstrom Levy is wonderfully portrayed, once again in no small part to Steven Yeun, but the part of the finale I really like is the aftermath of the fight. Not the stuff about Mark having to get help from the future teen team, although that was interesting too, but just the stuff about Mark. Like I said earlier, Invincible is much more focused on the inner life and emotions of its protagonist than most comic books. So much so that the climactic moment of Season 2, in my opinion, isn't really Mark killing Angstrom, it's Mark's last flight. After a whole season of Mark having to just deal with some of the most fucked up family drama I've seen in a comic, he just needs to fly and scream while he mourns, basically losing his dad and maybe soon losing the Earth. With a really great score in the back, this is one of my favorite non-climaxes I've seen in a superhero show. And I know a thing or two about non-climaxes. So, I forgot about Amber. Me and Mark, man. Now, I'm going to talk about some extra things about the show that I really like, some things I have a problem with, and some other things that other people have problems with. But let's start with
Amber.
People find Amber annoying, in my opinion, for three main reasons. Number one, woman. That will always be an issue for some nerds. And subcategory 1A, black woman. Reason number two, when she is a problem for Mark, she is, in a way, a problem for the audience, and some watchers of these shows will always identify with the lead a little too much, make Mark's problems their problems. And reason number three, Amber says that she will be able to date a superhero, and she's just wrong. This is definitely influenced by Invincible being a superhero show, and therefore having a bit younger of an audience than most adult shows. But yeah, sometimes people are just wrong about what they can handle in a relationship. You either change the relationship, or you break up, and short of Mark just not being invincible anymore, which Amber doesn't want anyways, there isn't really another way out of this. And after this, Amber really isn't in the show. Once again, this series is heavily focused on Mark Grayson's world, so when Amber isn't in that world anymore, we just don't really see her. One character I am really glad we only see more and more of, though, is Rexplode.
This is what you're gonna do, Rex. You're gonna go in there and tear off every one of his tentacles and shove them up however many he has. And then, you're gonna send him packing back to Planet Bull.
Voiced by Jason Mantzoukas, Rex has become the breakout star, especially of the third season of Invincible. He's funny, has a dope quirk, superpower, and under all of his stupid jokes, bravado, cheating, and cheating, Rex has a heart of explosive gold. I haven't really talked about the third season at all yet, but it's the one airing right now, and the scene of Rex cooking steak for him and Shrinking Ray was probably my favorite from him in the show. Oh yeah, and speaking of season 3, the animation is still good. There's a fun thing on the internet where if you like something, you still have to complain about it even if your complaints are bandwagon bullshit. Is Invincible the best looking animated show out there? No. But it still looks really damn good. Sometimes I think people just don't understand what bad animation is, but for me, looking at Invincible, I'm never bored, it's never ugly, and I always perfectly understand the emotions on our characters' faces. Is it perfect animation? No. But that's good animation in my book. And yeah, obviously if you slow down the animation in one of your little TikTok videos, it's gonna look worse. Who could have fucking guessed? But all that is to say, I think my favorite animated sequence so far from Season 3 is probably the fight between Battle Beast and the Viltrumites. Also, seriously, how did Machine Head hire this dude? Speaking of Machine Head, one of my notes for this video was literally just talk about Machine Head. Machine Head is a cybernetic crime boss, or maybe just fully cyber, I'm not sure. He is voiced by Jeffrey Donovan, and the combination of his delivery and the dubstep effect they add to it afterwards is insanely funny.
You think you can just punch your way out of this? I know where your family lives, and that means you work for me.
He shows back up again in Season 3 after being entirely absent from 2, kind of similarly to how the plot of assembling a team against the Viltrum Empire has come back into more importance. But the part of Season 3 I'm far more engaged with right now is the growing feud between Mark and Cecil. As my two favorite characters in the show, I'm not really shocked that this is so intriguing to me, and I don't totally support Cecil going against Mark so hard, but he should probably nuke Oliver. Well, I don't know if you noticed, but that video was way more about Seasons 1 and 2 of Invincible than Season 3, and that's because I'd still like to make an Invincible Season 3 video when it actually finishes. But I absolutely recommend the show so far. One of my mystery correspondents recommends the comic too, but I have not read it. But folks, that is the video for this week. I'll see y'all next time. Goodbye. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching that video as always. If you made it to this point, a double thank you so much. I really like Invincible. I like blew through this show so quickly once I started watching it for this. I didn't realize how quickly I had caught up. I didn't know it was on Season 3 until it was happening, and then I couldn't stop. It's Invincible, it's so good. I haven't watched the new episode yet that had Aaron Paul guest starring, but I heard it was good. I saw the gag that they did with the title thing, which was funny, but we'll have to show off for my collection this week. This is very exciting. Marvel has started doing this Marvel Premiere collection, sort of in the same way. Oh yeah, I rearranged stuff here a little bit. I think it looks nice. But they've started doing this in the same way that DC does their compact comics that I've got there. These are $15 each. They're bigger. It's got covers and stuff in the back, which is nice. It's got the script for Born Again too. This is amazing. This is Daredevil Born Again, obviously. One of the best comics I've ever read already. I love Frank Miller until 9/11 ruined his brain. Very tragic. But yeah, some of his best work ever. Little spoiler, next video is Daredevil. I'm so excited. I'm making a video about the Netflix series for Born Again coming out, but there's also gonna be a section about Born Again, because if you've read this and you've watched the Netflix Daredevil, a lot of things in Born Again that they can't do in the new Born Again, because either they already did them, the characters that they need to do for those stories are dead, or it's Nuke. And I don't think Marvel will ever add Nuke in this form with the American flag painted on his face, because I know he was in Jessica Jones, I think, but they're not gonna add this Nuke to anything ever, I don't think. Outside of a comic book. I just don't see that happening. But I would absolutely recommend picking up Born Again. I'm so excited for this next video. I've had so much fun rewatching Daredevil. But I'll see y'all next time. Goodbye.